Trigger warning. If you've become bitter and jaded from dating, totally understandable, by the way, this episode may cause you to have a reaction similar to vomiting. Yeah. I take no responsibility for your keyboard or your clothes. Okay, if you choose to listen on, just know that it will get mushy. You've been warned. Hello, I'm Kelly Shanley, a stand-up comic who spent 10 years on the dating apps in LA. And these are my stories. Welcome to the Dating is Nuts podcast. This is the last episode of season 2, the culmination of my summer of love, where you finally get to hear about my happy ending. Not like that. Well, kind of like that, but not graphic or anything like that. This is episode 216, revealing the man I gave up peanut butter for. You had me at, hey girl. Turns out I really fell for dick pics. Yeah. If you watched the last episode, you know that Carter turned out to be a bit of a, how shall I put it, mansplaining douchebag? Ooh. By process of elimination, you know there's only one man standing. But the last time you heard about him, we were not on speaking terms. So, let me spill the tea. Did I use that right? I feel old. To recap, after Dex told me he had spent part of Thanksgiving with his ex, I told him I wanted to take a few months off and wait for the divorce dust to settle. Even though it wasn't what he wanted, Dex respected my request. Like, frustratingly so. In the past, when I've asked for space from whoever I was dating, this overwhelming sense of relief would wash over me. You know, like a great steam shower after a week-long backpacking trip when you've had a mystery pebble stuck in your boot. Oh, the best. The shower, not the pebble. But with Dex, there was no such relief. I was a mess, okay? Anytime my phone or anyone's phone near me dinged, I would whip my phone out, hoping it was Dex, that he had caved and texted me. But he never did. I was impressed and grateful that he respected my boundary. But mostly I was just really fucking sad. I missed him. I hated not talking to him. Plus, I was getting a pretty significant backlog of memes that I wished I could send him. I became incredibly irritable. Like Red Foreman from that 70s show. Like if anyone looked at me wrong, I would snarl at them and threaten to put a boot in their ass. Okay, not really, but I wanted to. I did have a meltdown over a missing FedEx package and punch a wall, though. Yeah. Not my finest moment, but clearly I was processing more emotions than I had anticipated. But I was the one who asked for space. I made my own bed. Now I had to lie in it. Right? According to my friends, I did not. They thought it was a good thing that I missed him and that I should tell him so. He'll be thrilled, they said. You're allowed to change your mind. I was pretty certain they were right, but what if he wasn't? What if he was just exhausted by me changing my mind again? I didn't want to toy with his emotions, but I was finally clear about what I wanted. I'm allowed to change my mind. Huh. See, I thought that Dex needed time and space, but it turned out it was me. I was the one with all the reservations, and cutting off contact with him gave me all the clarity I needed. I did not want to be without this person. It was harder than cutting carbs during the holidays, and it only made my cravings for him stronger. I came back to LA again for a quick visit and some business, and knowing that I was like near Dex but couldn't see him made it even worse. It was like I had gotten an upset stomach from the ravioli at my favorite Italian place one time, and so I swore it off forever. But after I didn't have the ravioli for a while, I realized it was truly the best ravioli in the world, and I would never find another Italian place that served ravioli like that. But then I still kept trying to resist it. But then I had to run an errand directly across the street from the Italian place, and then I knew I had to have that ravioli for the rest of my life, even if it gave me occasional heartburn. That was a long ravioli analogy. I may have lost you there. I'm not sure if it made sense. What I'm trying to say is that I caved. I texted him. I ordered the ravioli. Yeah. I lasted 6 days. 6 days. Yeah. I told him that I missed hearing his voice and I would love to talk to him. I sent that message at 7:32 p.m. Who's counting? And by the time I went to bed, I had not heard back from him. No. Sleep was tricky. It was like the Beastie Boys in my brain that night. Just like, no, sleep till. Text tone? No? Did he? No? Okay. After an agonizing night, I hoped to awaken to his reply. I did not. Ugh, I knew I should have frozen my eggs. That afternoon, while eating vegan cinnamon French toast and doodling in an adult coloring book, coping, I finally got a text from Dex. I was elated, and then I was terrified, right? Like, what if it was a no? What if he didn't want to talk to me again or see me again ever? What if he was, in fact, exhausted by the bullshit? Wouldn't he have replied right away if it was a yes? He agreed to talk on the phone later that day. Oh, thank God. I was so excited. I was so happy. But then I was so nervous. I knew I had to lay it all out on the line. No uncertainties, no waffling, no more bullshit. I just had to jump in with both feet and let the chips fall where they may. And if he rejected me, I would handle it like a goddamn grown-up. By hiding at my mom's house, smoking lots of weed, and listening/sobbing to every Taylor Swift album ever written. Hot tip, it's very effective. I drove to the beach to watch the sunset, and I FaceTimed Dex from there. He was quiet, a little wary, understandably. He was letting me do the talking, which was totally fair. I skipped all the small talk and I just dove right in. I told him how much I missed him. I acknowledged that asking for space and then immediately changing my mind felt unfair to him, but it had turned out to be exactly what I needed. I had never missed anyone the way that I missed him. I left out that little detail about punching a wall, though. Can't have his ego too inflated. He took a long, thoughtful beat, and then he said, I need you to tell me what you want. You're a little hard to read these days. Totally fair. I guess, to put it simply, what I'm saying is I'm in. A little smile slowly crept across his face, and it calmed my racing heart. He asked me, do you want to come over? Yes, very much so, I said. I did a little celebratory wiggle dance after I hung up, of course, and then grinned like a fool all the way to his house. He greeted me out front with a hug, and we went inside to talk some more. And Dex told me that he understood what I was trying to say in that first awkward conversation when I couldn't articulate what the hell I was feeling. He was like, you were worried that things would move quickly, and you were right. I thought we could do this casually, but you knew we couldn't. I acknowledged that I had been trying to control the pace of our relationship, and I finally realized that it couldn't be done. I either had to be completely in or completely out. I tried being completely out and hated it, so that left me no other choice but to be completely in, and that felt much better. We had makeup sex, ordered ramen, and watched TV. We both prefer an insane amount of snuggling, so we just draped on each other like a couple cats on a heater vent. Yeah, we're gross. Yeah. Dex kept looking at me out of the corner of his eye. I was like, what? He's like, I just can't believe we're here. He squeezed me tighter, and I just melted. Everything felt so right, insanely right, like nothing I had ever felt before. And we've been together ever since. Oh shit, I'm gonna cry. Dex came up to Tahoe to visit me a couple weeks later for New Year's, and he stayed for a week straight. Then he came up again in February for his birthday, and that's when he told me that he loved me. We were just sitting in the hot tub, staring at the stars, and he just threw it out there as casually as a request for more cookie butter ice cream from Trader Joe's. He was like, oh, by the way, I've been meaning to tell you this for a while. I love you. It was cute. No one has ever told me that they love me first. Okay, well, my parents, but no man had ever told me that he loved me first. I had to wait 35 years for that. So I let that fuzzy feeling wash over me before I rushed to reply because I already knew that I loved him too. This is the mushy part that I warned you about. I did warn you. It would get mushy, and here it is, okay? Don't get mad at me. But I let him sweat for a minute. Just like a little payback for that delayed text message reply. Yeah. No, not really. I just wanted to bask in the glow of knowing that someone was in love with me for a minute before I told him that I loved him too. Not long after that, on our Valentine's Day FaceTime date, I was telling Dex about my house hunt for my imminent return to Los Angeles. And then he reminded me that he lived in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhome with a 2-car garage, which in Los Angeles is basically a palace. You know, I do have space for you here. Holy shit. And I'd love to share it with you. Double holy shit. Is this a bit? Is he serious? We do so many bits that sometimes I actually can't tell. He knows I come with a cat, right? And like a lot of toiletries. What happens when I have to poop? I've never lived with a boy before. Well, I do now. I'm actually recording this from his office / our guest room. Yeah. And we have 3 bathrooms. So number 2 is a non-issue. Do I miss peanut butter? Yes. Do I binge a jar of Skippy Natural Creamy whenever he leaves town? Yes. Do I feel like Dex is worth switching to almond butter the other 95% of the time? I do. I really do. Well, we've reached the end of season 2. The bottom of the metaphorical peanut butter jar, if you will. It's been quite a journey. In season 1, I shared my awful dates with you. The mortification they brought me, the lack of second dates they got me, the lessons they eventually taught me. In season 2, I shared my good dates with you. The unexpectedly romantic moments, how rejecting someone awesome brought me great torment, my surf buddy becoming my lover and co-resident. Okay, I'm done rhyming. That was exhausting. That's not good. It's funny because that's not how I thought that this column turned podcast would go when I agreed to write it. I'd been writing about my bad dates for years, and I saw no end to my material in sight. I was just making lemonade out of lemons, and I would continue to do so as long as my love life was as easy to swallow as a tart glass of citric acid. But deep down, I wanted some goddamn romance in my life. I wanted a partner. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have babies. Yeah, I did. Okay. And I legitimately had no idea how that would ever happen aside from a sperm donor I selected from a picture book. I just couldn't see it. The cynicism from my writing had ceased to be a persona and had become my personality. And I was tired of it. So I stopped being cynical and I allowed myself to be hopeful again. How? How did I do that? It's kind of embarrassing, but I bought myself a book called Calling in the One, 7 Weeks to Attract the Love of Your Life. And I did every exercise in that book. Yeah, that's really what it's called. I told you it was embarrassing. Okay. Why do you think I've never brought it up before? But honestly, it helped me work through my issues, some of which I knew were holding me back. Bitterness, duh. Some of which I don't know if I ever would have figured out on my own. Like, it turns out I did not trust myself. If you have finished laughing at the title and you're even remotely curious, go buy it. I highly recommend it. The book asks you to set an intention when you begin, but not just to yourself, out loud to your friends and family. Yeah, cringy. Very cringy. Yes, I know. But honestly, the accountability was real. I couldn't quite buy into the 7-week timeline. That just felt too fast, especially in the middle of a global pandemic. So I gave myself 6 months to meet the love of my life. This was in August 2020, which would give me until January 2021 to meet the love of my life. If you just listen to this full episode, you might find that timeline uncanny. I announced my intention to my mom, my sister, and my 3 best friends. I was nervous and judging myself and sure that they were going to roast me, but they were all so supportive. They're like, we can't wait to meet him. I was like, oh, me neither. I did a chapter a day from the book, and each chapter has a different exercise at the end, usually like a journal entry or a meditation, but some of them were more involved. One chapter, I got to burn some shit, literally. Yeah, I wrote down all of the thoughts I had recently discovered that were holding me back on little scraps of paper, and then I burned them one by one in a bowl on the floor of my childhood bedroom like a 13-year-old girl at a slumber party seance. And it felt great. That shit helps. I won't ramble on too much longer about my intention setting and meditating and singeing my mother's carpet bullshit. But I did want to mention the book to my fans as a little piece of wisdom. If you're trying to get out of your own way in your search for love, it could be a very helpful tool. It was for me. For those of you who are out there dealing with the minefield that is dating in 2025, I hope I've resuscitated just like a semblance of optimism that you can find a happy ending. Even if you've felt as defeated as the last kid picked in dodgeball for like the 100th time, we are the same. Okay, I have been you. I was you for a decade, but I didn't give up. I did have to do some work and get out of my own way, but it worked out for me, and it can work out for you if that's what you want. Okay, and now I'll get off my soapbox. So that's a wrap on season 2. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope that you will like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a friend. Seriously, if you thought of anyone during this episode, maybe someone who's like happy and disgusting and sappily in love like me, or maybe someone who's so bitter and jaded that they're choking on it, like the old me, share this with them. Yeah, of course it helps me, but I genuinely hope that it helps you too, to feel less alone on your chaotic dating journey. Thank you again so much for being here. I'm still Kelly Shanley, and I will see you in season 3, Lover Nutters. Okay, we're finally ready. If you have become bitter and dated from dating, which is totally understandable, by the way. Yeah, by process of it was not. Even though it wasn't what he wanted, Dex respected. Excuse me, I'm so burpy. His overwhelming sense of relief would wash. Relief. It only made my cravings for him stronger. Okay. Even if it came with a little occasional heartburn, that was really bad. Okay. Doodling in an adult coloring book later. He agreed. I do have space for you here. And had become my personality, and I was tired of it. Okay, we're gonna take that again. Okay, I think we're done. We're done.